And thus, quite unexpectedly at the end of the tutorial area, you're picked up by a giant crow and dumped in the main game area itself. Giant crow visible over there in the distance. And the only direct sense of purpose you're given for the majority of the game is dumped right on the front of the screen for you. In Lordran, level up and kindle at bonfires. And then you're like, what the hell is kindling? We'll get around to that, but I wouldn't worry too much right now. There's an insane amount of stuff that we could go through, which I could explain and take time to discuss and go through the details on and reason about and like explain item information, that type of thing. But I don't think there's any point in doing it in the first couple of episodes. More likely we'll go into depth on items and lore and that type of thing in later ones instead. Instead I'll just get the flow of the game rolling so people can see what it's about. And thus you can see ourselves turned back to a normal human. What I just did there is use a humanity and reverse my hollowing, which is quite an interesting and fickle concept when you actually think about it. Just by using an item as a bonfire you can actually turn yourself back into a human, or at least the visage of one. Whether or not you're actually human and not undead is pretty much up in the air at this point. And over here, a man sits, looking quite sad, just staring over, watching.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess, fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first, but there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are, actually, 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happened. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
It's quite interesting. He delivers lines of dialogue explaining the basic outline of our quest, or current aim, should I say. We don't really understand this world or the reasoning behind any of it. We don't know what sort of bell of awakening is. One can only assume it's some kind of giant bell, and that's about it.
What? You want to hear more? Oh, that's all we need. Another inquisitive soul. Well, listen carefully then. One of the bells is up above in the undead church, but the lift is broken. You'll have to climb the stairs up the ruins and access the undead burg through the waterway. The other bell is back down below the undead burg, within the plague-infested Blight Town. But I'd die again before I step foot in that cesspool.
It's quite interesting. He sounds defeated and world-weary, and as he states then, at the end, he'd rather die again than actually step foot in Blight Town.
Bloody hell, what is it now? You ask too many questions. What now? I'm not up for chatting. Leave me alone.
You get the feeling that you're not the first one he's seen. You're not the first person to come through here. He's probably seen it so many times he's actually sick and fed up with it by this point. And just below the bonfire we have a silent woman. No response, she cannot speak. informed that a Firekeeper soul is required to reinforce our Estus flask, but not explained what reinforcing it will do, or how to go about it other than finding a Firekeeper soul. Where they reside, who knows? Most things in the game are delivered in this kind of manner, where you have some vague outline of what you're doing, where you're going, what you're looking for, but you never really clearly know until you've actually done it. And even once you've done certain tasks, you're often left wondering, is that really right? Is that really what I should be doing? The game often rewards you for searching ground areas and making sure you've cleared out every nook and cranny. Little oddities and strange items hidden in the scenery and that type of thing. Introduce us to our gesture menu, where you've got a variety of different actions you can perform. Some NPCs do actually respond to certain gestures, though it's quite rare normally. As you can see, I bow, but I get no response.
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am Petrus of Thorolund. Have you business with us? If not, I prefer to keep a distance, if possible.
He doesn't seem to be interested in talking to us. Quite standoffish. But he seems fairly well-intentioned.
I realize that I have requested that we retain our distance. But I also want you to know that it is not meant in ill will. Here, take this, as a token of peace. No, go ahead. It's for you.
And he gives us a single copper coin, to be polite. Almost as if he's trying to buy us off or get rid of us. Let's see. Copper coin, coin made of copper. Surprising. Its face shows Old Man McCloyf, god of medicine and drink. Even coins of great value in the world of men have little value in Lordran, where the accepted currency is souls. Those who dream of returning to the outside world are fond of carrying these around. So, as I was implying before, the items in the game tell you a good deal of lore, both about this character and the world around us. It's noted that the coin has little value in this current area where he is. However, they're often kept by people who intend to leave. So we immediately get the idea that he wants to actually leave the place, to leave Lordran, this is. And we're also told that there's no value to the item that he just gave to us to be polite to us. So in turn, it's kind of like a backhanded compliment or nod towards us. It's basically said, here, there's a coin which isn't worth anything at all, now go away. But at the same time, he gave us a coin, and can we really complain?
You again? Oh, I know. How about this? I have to await my companions here anyway. So what if I were to teach you some miracles? Would that please you? Very well. Then first, a covenant with the gods. Now let me share my miracles. Only their ultimate effectiveness will be determined by your efforts and your faith.
And so we're introduced to covenants. Covenants are essentially kind of like guilds in this game, where if you're in a covenant, then you can interact and possibly gain certain benefits or special items from the covenant if you prove your worthiness to it. And sometimes you actually get to assist other players of the same covenant under certain terms and circumstances. But we'll leave that to one side for the time being. It's essentially our guild for the time being.
My companions are Milady and her young knights. She is young, but burdened by an undead mission. We are her defenses, to keep her from harm. An undead mission? Regrettably, I cannot share that with you. But you are my pupil. Perhaps if you show your faith.
And by show your faith, he means give him something valuable. Whereas he gave us a virtually valueless coin before, he in turn requests 500 souls. And we are informed by the coin that souls are the currency of this country, nation, part of the world, Lordran overall. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. He seems to be a priest of some sort. He talks about miracles and dedication and worshipping. Yet he demands souls for benefits.
Very well. I can surely tell you, of all people, undead clerics are given a mission to seek kindling. Kindling is the art of feeding bonfires with humanity. Through kindling, we shall one day be granted magnificent powers.
And thus kindling is explained to us for 500 souls.
Very well. I can surely tell undead kindling through kindling.
Seems that's all of his conversation options burnt out for the time being. And we do have access to various miracles from him now. There's things like heals, homeward, which returns you to a last bonfire you saved at, or rest at, I should say. Force, which is a mana shockwave attack. It basically just knocks enemies over. If I remember correctly, it doesn't do any damage, but it can send them flying off edges. Seek guidance, which, if I remember correctly, shows more messages on the floor and that type of thing. And a basic heal at the end. Well, actually, what items do you have? Talismans, talismans are essentially ways of focusing or channeling miracles and actually casting spells with miracles in particular, which are faith-based.
Come again. The effectiveness of the teachings depend upon your faith.
As he says there, the amount of faith we have will directly affect the strength of our magical abilities, as far as miracles go anyway. Magic other than miracles is covered by intelligence. And down below, just from where he was, you would be standing just around there somewhere. There are 3 chests. Now this is quite interesting, as one of them contains cracked Red Eye Orbs. A second includes items that A, he sells, and B, he wields, the Morning Star, very spiky mace that you saw in his hand, the talismans which he sells, and numerous homeward bones. Now, this is another one of those items in the game world hinting at something or a possibility involving something or someone. Because cracked Red Eye Orbs in particular are very notorious items. They allow you to invade other people's games or worlds, as the game describes them. Hollows cannot use the item, which means you have to have turned yourself human at one of the bonfires to use it. Defeat the master of a world you have invaded to acquire humanity. The cracked Red Eye Orb allows players to temporarily imitate the ability normally limited to the Dark Wraiths of Karth. We have no idea who the Dark Wraiths of Karth are at the time being. That's kind of interesting. We also gain Lloyd's Talismans, which again are quite interesting items. They prevent Estus using Estus recovery items within a limited area. Lloyd's Talisman. Talisman utilised by Allfather Lloyd's cleric knights to hunt down the undead. Blocks Estus recovery within a limited area. In the outside world, the undead are accursed creatures, and Lloyd's cleric knights are widely praised for their undead hunts. This blessed talisman blocks undead recovery, allowing the knights to fight with impunity. So basically it stops you from healing and ensures you can actually kill whoever you're hunting down. Whoops. Getting stuck on terrain there. Just be careful of these skeletons here. Particularly savage. They're one of the earliest enemies you encounter in the game, and they will absolutely destroy you if you're not careful against them. Just a quick heal down here. Careful I don't run too far because other skeletons are down here. Amongst other things, if I remember correctly. Oops. Careful with the lock-on ability, as handy as it is. Oops. Mistimed that parry completely. Oh. Don't want to die. One thing you have to be careful with parry is that it does lock you into the animation until it's completed. So if you're not properly prepared, you can get completely comboed out of existence before you can even react to it. Ugh. Timing is still way off. Oof. As you can see, about 3 clean hits will kill me from these guys. Gotcha. While the parry and riposte animation is active though, you do have iframes or protected frames where you cannot take damage. Ooh, that's pretty violent. Let's get out of that corner. Dodge that. Also with the scimitar... that's such a fast attack. With the scimitars that these skeletons use, it can be hard to judge when the actual impact is going to land. Their weapons are quite fast, but they also swish back and forth, so the blow might not hit you as instantly as you might think. Then other swings can be extremely fast. Let's keep practicing. There we go. Gotcha. The majority of single-handed attacks in the game can be parried and riposted. However, there are some which are simply unstoppable. Some of the interesting architecture of the game and various implications attached to it, but not worth discussing at this current point in time. And an empty chest next to a random pool of water. It's interesting just how much of the game is so cryptic and unexplained from the outset, and yet you can't help but wonder what it's all about. And whether the game will actually explain any of it to you. This bloodstain is essentially a corpse of another player. As you can see, they went around, got that item, dropped off the edge there, and went for a small tumble. It's quite interesting that the deaths of others can assist you. If you keep your eyes open, you'll be able to find out quite a lot of interesting information about the game, just from watching other people die. That's essentially the opening of the game, the first area, taking us through to the bonfire that we will spend a majority of the game going back to sooner or later. Firelink Shrine is essentially the be-all and end-all of the game as far as a base camp or a home base is concerned. We'll do a small amount of leveling up before we carry on. These souls of lost undead are essentially stacks of souls that you can use at will to grant yourself extra souls, as you can see in the bottom right hand corner there. They come in varying sizes and varying descriptions, and will essentially have the same effect, just the quantity of souls gained varies between them. Once you have enough souls, you can level up again. As you can see above, it says souls and required souls. We have 1,265 and it requires 775 to level up next. Almost all stats are beneficial at this current point in time. However, depending on what kind of style of play you want to pick up, you might want to go down a certain path. Whether you want to stack up intelligence and use magic, stack up faith and use miracles to heal yourself and others possibly, or if you want to go for a dexterity or strength build and use very powerful weapons from the outset. All of that's pretty much up to yourself. And so, before continuing on, I'll say goodbye and thank you for watching so far. My name is Excalibur, and this has been Dark Souls. See you soon.